Hi, how you doing? Justin here. In this video today we are going to be checking out my new app, which is the JustinGuitar Time Trainer Metronome. It is a metronome, but it's got a whole heap more too. It's got 3 training tools which are going to really help you develop your own internal sense of time. Now I'm going to give you the quick spiel about them now for those of you that don't want to sit through the whole 10-minute explanation. There's 3 training modes. The first one is called bar breaks, which basically stops the beat for a bar or more, which is a great rhythm guitar development tool. So you'll be playing along for 3 bars with the click, and then it's going to stop for a bar. You have to keep time and then be playing perfectly in sync when the beat starts again. For 1 bar is not too bad, but 2, 3, 4 bars getting harder, up to 8 bars, that's going to be a real tough one. Mainly I use it for rhythm guitar, but you can use it for scales or improv or solo guitar, whatever. It's a really good one for developing that kind of your own internal sense of time, which is a really, really important thing to develop. Second training tool is the random beat drop. A lot of guys when they're playing with the metronome a lot, really rely on that click to be playing in time. So what this one does is gradually and slowly and randomly starts muting the metronome clicks. And you'll find that when you're practicing along with this, you gradually get used to the metronome not being there. It's kind of removing the safety blanket slowly kind of thing. Great one for doing with your scales as well. So you should be practicing with the normal metronome too, I might add. That is really important. We've got one of those built into this, of course, but the random beat drops are really good kind of, it gets you out of just really religiously always playing with the metronome, so which is a very important skill. And the third one, which is one that I've wanted in a metronome for years and years, is I've called it the speed upper, which basically you set a start tempo, an end tempo, and a duration, and it's going to gradually speed up from one tempo to the next tempo over the course of that 5 minutes or whatever. You can go from 80 to 100 or whatever, which is a really, really super duper useful thing for your practice time. I'm using it every day for my own practice as well. It's a great thing. Of course, it is a full-featured metronome as well. We have accents, a few different sounds, tap tempo, and our audio engine is extremely accurate. Most of the apps that I've seen around are not very accurate at all. In fact, some of them shouldn't really be even for sale, I think, because they'd probably damage you more than help you by playing along with them. The beats were all over the place, and some of the tempos were completely mislabeled as well. So you think you're going along at 140 and you're actually going at about 110 or something. It can be pretty drastic. So just be careful of that. I'm not trying to do you the big sell on my one, but my one works. And if you do decide to go for a different one, I'd do a little bit of checking up to make sure that it's working good and it's accurate too. So now we're going to go to a close-up and I'm going to show you all of the features and how to use this thing. Hope you enjoy it. It's available from the App Store and, as I said, from the Android store sometime very soon. Okay, here we go for an in-depth look at the JustinGuitar Time Trainer Metronome. We start, of course, by clicking on the little icon, quick splash screen, and we're on to the main page, which has the little swinging metronome head thing, the pendulum. The little bit grill behind will light up with the beat. Next line down, we've got the tempo, which is in beats per minute. The minus button, of course, will slow the tempo, and the plus button will increase the tempo. Something slightly less obvious is pressing and holding will move in increments of 10 from whatever you want, so that can be useful if you're trying to change tempo quickly. We've got a mute button, pretty obvious. It's going to make the metronome silent when you hit that. And underneath here we've got a volume control, which is a volume slider. It's also controllable by using the plus and minus volume buttons on the actual iPod itself, or iPhone, or whatever it is that you're using. We can leave the trainer one just for a second. We've got over here a tap tempo. Very, very useful when you're trying to figure out the speed of a song. If you literally just start tapping that, each time you tap, it's going to be doing an average of the taps that you've done. So we've discovered that one was 97. If we hit play, should be more or less the same tempo, which is a really great feature when you're trying to work out stuff, trying to work out a tune or whatever, that's a really important feature. Underneath that, we've got the accent. So accent is controlling a louder or a slightly different note to let you know where you are in the bar. So in normal playing, you're going to be in 4/4, which is going to give you an accent on beat 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can hear it's just a slightly different note. Now, if you were playing in 5/4, you just hit that once and make the accent 5. Anything to do with 3, you'd move it down. Sorry, having trouble touching the right thing because I'm looking at it from kind of behind. But anyway, there we go. So if we got it on 3, 1, 2, 3. We've got a little waltz thing going on, right? So that's the accent control. Now all of this is changeable in these settings. So if you click the little top icon there, you've got a range of different sounds. The default sound we were just listening to, MPC, cowbell, more cowbell, and wood. And you can also independently control the volume of the beat and the volume of the accent. So that's a really useful thing to be able to do as well. Now, the big thing with this is the Time Trainer, is the training mode. So if we hit the training mode, we get our little training mode menu options. So we've got trainer off, of course, and we've got bar breaks, random beat drop, and the speed upper. So we're going to start with bar breaks, which is probably the most useful, I think, of the three. One that I'm using a lot still and have been using for many years, just in another way, using Pro Tools. We hit the edit button, and we have the kind of most important settings that you can use for this bar breaks. The first thing, bars solid at start. Now, whenever you're going to be making the metronome silent for a while or having a bar break, you really want to make sure at the beginning of the exercise that you've got a good number of bars to get yourself in the groove properly and that you're feeling the tempo well. So at least 4 bars I would suggest as a bars solid at start setting. We've got random mute off for the time being. I'll explain that in a second. Then we've got bars solid and bars muted. Now, this is a good default setting for you if you're starting off with this. It's going to be playing the metronome as normal for 3 bars, and then it's going to mute the metronome for 1 bar and come back in again for 3 bars solid, then muted for 1 bar. So it gives you a chance to get in the groove, and then it's going to be muted, and you've got to try and stay in time so when the metronome comes back in, you're perfectly synchronized with the click. This is a great exercise, really, really solid thing to be doing. It'll help your internal time a lot. There's also random bar mute, which if you select that as being on, you can then select a random bar mute percentage. So if you click on that, you might have, say, 50%, which would mean that half of the bars are going to be randomly muted. It might mean you get 2 in a row, and then 1 or 3 in a row, and then a couple on or a couple off, because it's random. It's not on, off. But I don't recommend you use that to start off with. I think as a good starting setting, you want the bars solid at 3, bars muted at 1, and the bars solid at start set to 4. You go back from here. Now, when you leave this one to go back to the thing, if you've changed anything, you want to hit the done button, not the back button. That's really important, otherwise your settings won't work. So I'm going to turn the tempo right up here for a second, just so you can clearly hear what's going on. And then we'll hit play. We're going to have 4 bars solid, then 3 bars solid, 1 bar off, 3 bars solid, 1 bar off. So here we go, play. 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3. Now here, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, stop, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, stop, 2, 3, 4, 1, and then you're back on again. You can see what it's doing there. Now at that speed, the break wasn't very long, but you can imagine at a normal speed, a lot slower, that break is going to feel a lot longer than that, and especially one bar you shouldn't have too many problems with. 2 bars, a little bit more tricky. As soon as you get above 4 bars, it can be quite difficult. So I'm hoping that you'll enjoy that kind of challenge when you get to that. So that's the first of the training modes. The second one, random beat drop. A lot of guitar players really struggle when the metronome click's not there. They got really used to it, when really the metronome should be guiding you on your tempo. You shouldn't be kind of chasing it or waiting for it, you know. So what you should, the idea with this one is that a certain percentage of the beats are going to just completely disappear. So this is a kind of a good starting setting. So we've got a gradual interval of 5 minutes, and gradual's turned on, of course. So over the course of 5 minutes, it's going to start with 100% on, and then gradually up to 30% of the beats are going to disappear. Now, just for the point of this little demo here, I'm going to select it as being 1 minute, and I'm going to turn the beats muted up to 90%, just so you can really hear what's going on here. If we go back and done, because we've changed stuff, and then hit play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. So a lot of them are there to start off with, but over the course of 1 minute, more and more of them are disappearing. And the idea would be that you keep playing your scale through this, and keep managing, because when those clicks do happen, you should be perfectly synchronized with them. It's a really, really great fun exercise, this one, especially up in this 90% kind of target area, you know. That's it does get pretty difficult, you know, but that's the whole point. If it was easy, it wouldn't be a very good game, would it? So that's the random beat drop training tool. And this last one, the speed upper. Now this one's pretty obvious. We've got a start tempo, an end tempo, and the practice duration. So most times you're going to be practicing 5 minutes. Again, I'm going to just drop it down to 1 minute now just to show you the exercise. And usually, if I was practicing for 5 minutes, 60 to 90 might be a reasonable kind of a jump to make. If you're right at the top of your performance level, it might be 80 to 90 or whatever, you know. I'm going to make it a bit more extreme again just for this demo here. So I'll make it up to 140, let's say, over 1 minute. So we've selected that, done. So we're going to start at 60, end up at 140 over a minute, which is, like I said, rather extreme. You'll see when I hit play now, the tempo is going to go down. We've lost our plus and minus buttons because we're in this speed upper training mode. We hit play, started at 60. Now it's not going up every bar, it's going up mathematically over the time period that you set, which in this case was a minute. You can see it's already picking up because we've got to get all of the way up to 140 or whatever it was that I set. And you get the idea. This is really great for working on your scales or arpeggios or anything really that you've got to try and get faster and faster. I wouldn't recommend doing it this extreme. That's kind of bad, really, to be honest. You're much more likely to be going from 100 to 110 or something along those kind of lines. But you get the idea anyway. It's a very, very useful little training tool. And of course, if you hit the I button down in the bottom corner there, you have the full instructions, all of the stuff that I've just been going through with you there now, how to make the most of each one, of each one of those different training tools, and a bit about playing with the metronome, how it's best to do that, and some links to the forum and other kind of useful things like that. So all of the info is built into the app. Well, I hope you enjoyed having a look at that. Remember, there's much more information and support at JustinGuitar.com. You'll find the applications in the products area, the online store. So I'll see you for a lesson or song or something like that very soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.